じゃあ行ってくるよ。
車に気をつけるのよ。晩ご飯までには帰ってらっしゃいね。
Today was the day of the barbecue party that was at the Hinamizawa Fighters victory celebration. Oh, that's right. We had just won a baseball game, and because we won, our coach was like, "Hey, I'll treat you all to a barbecue if you win." And we're like, "Get the best quality meats you can." And he's like, "Fuck my wallet." Of course, I, having prepared myself, skipped breakfast in order to stay hungry. Though, with all the club members coming, it was pretty possible there would be a contest based on how fast or how much you could eat. Then I was already at our usual meeting place. Mion arrived a few minutes later.
よっしゃ、じゃあ早速行こうかね。おじさん朝ごはんを抜いてきたからお腹ペコペコ。
さすがだな。もちろん俺も朝食抜きで万全の体制だぜ。
Oh.
二人とも朝食抜きは健康に良くないよ。レナはちゃんと食べたんだよ。
そうかそうか。レナは偉いぞ。朝食は一日の基本だもんな。きっと成長途上なミオンを飛び越してナイスバデーになってグラビアを独り占めだ。
はあ、グラビアを独り占め。ナイスバデーになったらレナのとこにも白馬の王子様とか来てくれるかな。
Maybe.
絶対来ないと思う。レイちゃんが責任取れないならレナにいい加減なことは吹き込まないように。この子明日から3食くらいまとめて朝食を取り出すかもしれないよ。
Yeah, I could see Rena doing that. Wait, who did this gluttonous princess think was going to come from her?
まあその話は置いといて、とにかく俺たちはいい感じで腹ペコだ。さっさと行って大バーベキュー大会としゃれ込もうぜ。
Oh. Like, I know that's supposed to be, you know, that's the expression for like, yeah, or a group exclaiming something in an agreement or excitement, right? But like, at least with like Italian Americans, that's what they say when they get offended. Like if you bump into them in the middle of the street, they'll be like, "Oh, what are you doing?" You know? And yeah, they're like, "Oh, like let's go." The venue for said barbecue was said to be the food of the shrine grounds where Rika-chan lived. They held events and festivals there and barbecues too. It was a place that held all sorts of ceremonies in Hinamizawa. Come to think of it, there was supposed to be a big village festival coming up, wasn't there? Watanagashi or something. The scenery you could see from that high up was fairly superb, and the calm atmosphere particular to shrines was something fairly difficult to find in the city. We left our bicycles at the bottom of the shrine steps and broke into a mad dash up the stairs. When we arrived on the shrine grounds, the Hinamizawa fighters and their fathers had already gathered and had begun setting up for the barbecue early. Of course, Satoko and Rika-chan were there as well. When they noticed our arrival, they waved to us.
忘れずにちゃんと来ましたわね。皆さんが来なければその分お肉が多く食べられましたのに。実に残念でございましたよ。
甘いぜサトコ。俺たちが来た以上、まさか霜降りが一口でも食べられるなんて思ってるんじゃないだろうな。以前ここで弁当を食った時を思い出せ。俺とサトコの致命的なリーチさで今回も圧倒してやるぜ。
So I guess if you're watching this on YouTube later, I did mention this on like when the stream was starting, but we were having issues between last stream and this stream, or between last part and this part. But when I read this the first time, because we covered a little bit, like a few more like pages into like this chapter, I guess, before I had to completely stop streaming last time. I believe here they're referencing that scene in chapter 1 in Onikakushi, where Rena, where we had our picnic, and like Rena brought her bento, and we were all kind of fighting with each other, I believe, like over who would get certain like foods. I believe this is what that's, I believe that's what this scene is, or this like bit of text is referencing. I'm not 100% sure. It might be something else, or it might just be a memory that we haven't seen that's being mentioned.
なんですって？そんなの絶対に許せませんわ。
泣こうがわめこうが、サトコは目の前で牛肉を頬張るのを見るだけだ。安心しろ。 ピーマンやナスは譲ってやるからな。
僕もさとこにかぼちゃを焼いたのをいっぱいいっぱい譲ってあげますです。
When Satoko heard the word squash, her complexion changed color. When she took my overwhelming reach into account, she knew it wasn't just a threat. It could totally happen.
監督に伝えとくよ。さとこはかぼちゃが大好きだって。監督のことだから、日本全国から特産のかぼちゃを山盛り集めてきてくれるね。
よかったな、サトコ。どのかぼちゃもよりどり緑だぞ。朝から晩までずーっと3食かぼちゃ三昧だ。
Oh no. Oh, Satoko's crying again. We're bullying a gremlin.
レナレナ、みんながいじめますな。
Satoko tried to leap into Rena's chest. Oh no. Clearly giving another round, Rena's mock punches would have us piled on the ground. So just before Satoko hit Rena, I grabbed her by the nape of the neck and pulled her back. A superb reaction with only seconds of foresight at least. Or at least it was supposed to be. But for Rena, when I caught the leaping, crying Satoko, it looked like I was keeping her to myself.
ダメだよダメだよケイチくん。これはレナのなんだよ。お持ち帰り。
持ち帰り。Every time.
レナさん。その調子でミオさんとリカもやっつけてですわよ。
ちょっとタマ。
Oh no.
さあ、リカはどこですの？いた。レナさん、あそこでしたよ。待っててね、さとこちゃん。すぐにやっつけちゃうよ。そうしたらすぐにお持ち帰り。さとこがひどいのです。はう、リカちゃんもかわいい。はう、お持ち帰り。リカ、そう思わないでございましてよ。
Satoko laughed in a shrill voice at Rika and Rena's unproductive game of tag while we watched them sprawled out on the ground.
大丈夫ですか、前原さん。園崎さんも。
The coach came over and lent us a hand.
まあ、私たちのいつものコミュニケーションですから。どうぞお気遣いなく。
いつも顔面にあざが残るようなコミュニケーションはもう嫌だぞ。
You never learn, do you? Laughed the coach loudly. It made us start to laugh too. Satoko's laughter, Rika's yelling, and Rena's strange voice were kind of comfortable to hear. The adults here knew what they were doing, so the barbecue was ready in short order. As the salad oil dripped down onto the plate with a hiss, there was a loud cheer. When the coach brought over a big plate with all the meat on it, we all cheered again.
わあ、これ本当にすごいお肉だよ。監督、本当に大奮発したんだね。
約束ですからね。これなんかグラムいくらするか知ってます？本当に奮発したんですよ。
当然ですわ。三流のお肉じゃ昨日の私の大活躍をねぎらうには値しませんでしたよ。
True? With us like bullshitting like an ace pitcher?
そうだね。今日の主賓はさとこちゃんに違いないね。
確かに最後のホームランを打ったのは紛れもなくサトコだもんな。
That too.
しかも油断させたといえ小細工なしの特大アーチ。
さとこは運動神経は良いのです。
悪いどころか世代的には突出してるんじゃない？私なんかと比べても運動能力は決して劣らないでしょ。
さとこちゃんって ひょっとすると将来はスポーツ界で大活躍できるかもね。なんだか褒めちぎられて照れますわね。むしゃむしゃ。
Satoko, for whom the excessive praise made her notice the moderately grilled meat being stolen one after the other, was just far too cute. Oh, she's not noticing it.
前原さん、重い。
Right, I forgot that they give them sprites in the console version. Tomita and Okamura were carrying something over to us. It was a huge barbecue plate.
おお、これぞまさしくバーベキューの主人公の到着じゃねえかよ。
The plate was chock full of skewers with vegetables and meat on them. The grilled, burning hot meat juices made a shh noise as they drizzled off. You need a lot of heat for cooking something on a metal skewer, so they had grilled the whole plate at once. Oh my god.
やっぱりこれがなきゃバーベキューとは言わないですよね。
ああ、まったくだ。俺も手を貸すから早く持っていこう。よいしょ、よいしょ。
And back we go to normal.
見て見て、すごいのが来たよ。
Everyone greeted us with a cheer. Each person received a skewer with vegetables and big pieces of meat on it. They also received paper cups filled to the brim with juice. In my right hand were pounds of piping hot barbecue. In my left was a cup of juice that I could chug down. If this didn't make you want to dance, you weren't a man.
おお、もう我慢できないぜ。ガブッといくぞ。ガブッと。
まだまだケイちゃん。ほらほら、一応セレモニーってことで。
Oh no.
みんな注目。
Like it's Thanksgiving, he's like, we gotta gobble this shit down, and Mion's like, no, we gotta pray first. Thank you, Jen. Especially for stopping by. I'm glad you fancy my voice. The coach, with a cup of beer in his hand, mounted the nearby beer cooler. This is supposed to be a victory celebration after all. We needed an opening statement. Damn, I hope it ends soon. For every second this goes on for, a little more of the food's freshness goes away. Satoko stomped down on the back of my foot. The back?
まったく、いい年の男が卑しいですわね。もう少しエレガントに我慢できませんの？
Thank you, Jen. I appreciate it.
俺ってつくづく思ってることが顔に出ちゃうのな。
じゃあみんないいですか。昨日は大勝利でしたね。すごいピッチャーの登場で苦戦もしましたが、こちらも同じくらい頼もしい助っ人の登場で見事逆転勝利を収めることができました。
Yeah, so like, do you remember that fucking baseball game was weird as fuck. Like, we showed up, we were the pinch hitter, we show up with a golf club to a baseball game, and then all the reporters were saying shit like, this guy's a loser. But then after we convince the opposing like ace pitcher to throw the game, we start like shit talking him on the plate. After he throws 2 strikes, we start taunting him. We're like, oh come on, is that like the best you can do? It was so slow, anyone could see it. And he's throwing us like fastball after fastball after fastball. Eventually he starts throwing balls at us. And everyone in the stand was like, all the reporters were saying stuff like, this guy is crazy. He's not afraid of his fastballs. No wonder he came in with a golf club. Maybe this guy like he stopped playing baseball because it was too easy for him, so he swapped over to golf. Or when they asked us like after the game, they're like, hey, we're like, why did you give up baseball? Like, don't you want to go back to playing baseball or something? And we're like, we're not interested in Japan. We were like, I'm just not interested in Japanese baseball. And everyone took that as a sign of, this guy wants to play for the World Series instead of Japan. Which is insane shit. I love the writing in this game. Both my hands were full, so the adult and older brothers gave us a round of applause.
今日はその戦勝祝賀会です。約束通り 美味しいお肉をいっぱい用意しましたからね。今日はいっぱい食べて次の試合への活力にしていきましょう。
Then, after a few words of thanks to the fathers and brothers who helped with the barbecue, that he led us in a toast.
乾杯。
They say that when toasting, you would normally down the contents of your cup, but we were young. At the toast, all of us immediately began to dig into our skewers. I don't know, I think it depends on what guy you ask, but for sure, some of them do love balls more than others, depending on the sport. After that, it got really lively, with everyone congratulating one another for things they did during the game. Like how someone made a great catch, or how awesome someone looked when stealing a base. Of course, they congratulated me too, the savior who appeared to fight against the Koshien pitcher. Once again, the Koshien is like this huge Japanese festival, or sorry, it's like the major leagues of like Japanese high school baseball play, like baseball games.
まあ俺の活躍も含めてあれはサトコの活躍だったわけだからな。
確かにサトコの作戦ではあったけどさ、亀田を口説き落とすなんて真似はケイちゃん以外にはできなかったわけだし、十分ケイちゃんも称えられるに値する活躍をしてるよ。
そういえばケイチくん、あの後亀田くんと一緒にケーキを食べに行ったんだよね。なんだかすっごく仲良さそうだった。
ライバル関係から男同士の友情が芽生えちゃったわけ。
そういうのってなんだかそのは
I violently brushed through Rena's hair as she turned red in the face for pleasant seeming ideas. Jesus fuck. I violently brushed through Rena's hair as she turned red in the face for some reason at the mention of friendship between males, dispersing her pleasant feeling ideas. I still need to wake up, I'm sorry. Well, boys aren't really confusing. They're pretty simple creatures, if I'm honest. Like most men are pretty simple. But yeah, some love balls and some judge some judge girls for liking balls, that's for sure. Now then, where's the hero, or rather, the heroine, Satoko? Oh, there she is. Satoko was with Rika in the middle of bragging her heart out about the home run yesterday, and her teammates spared no compliments for her, since even though he was going easy on her, the fact that she hit a throw from a Koshien pitcher was something else. Right, and like, Rika is like, sorry, not Rika, Satoko is like 7? So that's still insane. Satoko was more loquacious than usual. It seemed she was in a great mood. She was flying so high that I thought for a moment about getting a word in to tease her, but she was the leading actress today, so I decided not to bully her at all. As I watched Satoko going at things as lively as usual under the sun, it struck me that it didn't quite line up with the pleasant time I'd spent with her. But both of those were the real Satoko. I didn't care which it was, her smiling happily or making a big lively fuss like this. Just as long as she would keep smiling like this forever.
楽しそうですね。あんなにはしゃいで。
The coach had approached me from behind before I realized it. As he gazed at Satoko from afar like I had been doing, he addressed me. So I could tell he was talking about her.
さとこちゃんの笑顔を見てると、なんだか心が洗われる気がしません。
He smiled, refreshed, searching for confirmation. I felt a little embarrassed to admit it, so against my better judgment, I played it off.
そうですか？あいつの笑顔じゃ皿一枚ろくに洗えないと思うんですけどね。
それを聞いたら、さとこちゃん怒るんでしょうね。でも、そんな彼女もとってもキュートなんですよ。
Oh, cute. Did he actually... Let's see if I can find it. Kyuto. Yeah, there it is, near the end. You can see it in hiragana. No, katakana. At the very end. Leaving her cuteness aside, I could understand him thinking Satoko getting angry for being teased would be funny.
イリアさんでしたっけ？
入江です。
Yeah, it was katakana. Good. I forgot for like a second. I was panicking.
でもみんな監督って呼びますからね。
Hmm.
前原さんも監督と呼んでくださるととても嬉しいです。
As he said that, Coach Iria smiled, blushing a little.
監督は聡子のことを気に入ってるみたいですね。
Hmm. I didn't have any real basis for saying that. It was just what I felt to be true.
ええ、気に入っていますよ。大好きです。
Oh?
彼女がもっと大きくなったら休校しようと思ってます。
This guy really says some insane stuff, doesn't he? After being astonished by this, I hurried to put my mind back in order. I'd heard that this coach guy was the kind of person who said crazy things out of nowhere. According to Mion, if I took everything he said seriously, I physically wouldn't be able to take it. That's kind of like me, actually. I do that a lot. I'm very hyperbolic, like, as a person. And there's people like whenever like growing up, they would take me very, very, very seriously, especially in like grade school or like high school. And it was so fucking weird. Like, if someone said something incredibly absurd, you really should not be taking them seriously. Like, my friends would find it funny because they knew that I was joking whenever I said something absurd, but a lot of people thought that I was so fucking serious about it, and it would confuse the hell out of me. If I was able to ignore that part of him, he seemed like he'd be a really funny guy.
あれ？今前原さん驚かれました？じゃあひょっとして聡子ちゃんのこと狙っています？それは困ります。私はもう何十年も前から狙ってるんですよ。
For decades, she's like 7.
監督、何十年も前にはまだ聡子は生まれてないと思うんですけど。
Oh, excuse me. For much more than a decade. So she's maybe 10 or 11. Or 12. Coach gave a dry grin and laughed. Was this how I should be doing it? I must somehow master the art of responding to this coach guy. Oh my god. After that, I received many words of praise for my actions, almost too many. As that conversation was happening, leaving aside the controversial statements this coach person would spout suddenly, I learned that he was very composed and not a bad guy by any stretch.
俺なんかよりあの特大アーチを放った聡子の方が賞賛に値すると思いますよ。正直あいつにホームランを打てるなんて思わなかったです。
聡子ちゃんのお兄さんはどちらかというとおとなしい文系のタイプでした。
Was he? Was Satoshi a bookworm?
きっと聡子ちゃんはその反対の才能に恵まれたんでしょう。
Because all we know of Satoshi is what we learned in part 1, where Satoshi, I believe he was part of the baseball team, because he had a uniform and he had a baseball bat in his locker, and he had to quote unquote transfer out, right? But that's because he was being hunted by the village and was gonna be fucking killed. So as far as we know, he's left the village, and something happened, but I did not expect him to be like a bookworm, considering that again he was on the baseball team to begin with. Her brother? Right, he meant Satoshi, the one who left Satoko and ran away from home. Satoko's Nini, Satoshi Hojo.
ご存知ないですか？聡子ちゃんのお兄さんです。北条聡くんと言いましてね。彼もひなみ沢ファイターズで活躍してたんですよ。
Right, like he was a baseball player with him as well.
もっともっと活躍してほしかったんですが、転校してしまいましてね。
へえ、そうなんですか。
So he transferred. Yeah, maybe that was a little more considerate than saying he ran away. Now that he mentioned it, I think it was Rena. I think she said Satoshi transferred too. I didn't know the details of him having run away from home at the time, so I didn't pay much attention to it, but...
兄貴だけ転校したんでしたっけ？そういうのって珍しいですね。
Everyone having fun was far away, and their cheerful voices distant. The chorus of the cicadas separated us from them, giving me a sense of distance. At first, I thought my own voice was too soft for even me to hear. but for a really long time, Coach didn't respond to my words. So at this point, I began to wonder if he had said something I shouldn't have, or if I had said something I shouldn't have. Just when I began to feel impatient, Coach finally spoke.
不幸なことがあったんです。
The lighting change? No, I thought it did.
いろいろと。
After informing me that what he was about to say was a secret, Coach began to talk a little at a time.
もう3年になります。ちょうど今頃の時期でしたっけ。聡子ちゃんのご両親が事故に遭われましてね。
事故？
ええ。旅先の公園で展望台から転落されましてね。
It was supposed to be just a little time away from the house of the family. They went for a walk on a path through a nature park after it had rained. There was a little viewing platform that looked like it had a good view. That was the stage on which the tragedy was set. The metal fixtures in the viewing platform fence had deteriorated from time, and with all the rain they had just gotten, they might have loosened somewhat. Right before Satoko's eyes, both the fence and her parents fell. There was a river some tens of meters below. The water level was high due to the rain, and apparently very muddy.
それで両親は？
Coach gave a thin but melancholic smile and touched his paper cup to his lips. Without saying anything, I knew how unfortunate that accident was and how Satoko's parents had left on an eternal vacation.
じゃあ聡子って。
I was so focused on being careful with my words that I lost what I was going to say. A single word, orphaned. I knew how little consideration it showed and how much it would hurt Satoko without having to say it out loud. Come to think of it, Satoko lived with Rika. At least that's what I thought I heard from the others. Wait, Rika, her father died from illness too, and her mother soon after. I felt like I heard she was living by herself.
ええ。今は古出さんと一緒に生活しています。二人ともご両親がいなくて心細い日もあったでしょうが、助け合いながら生活しているようです。親の庇護なく生きていくっていうのは、あの年頃にはとても辛いことだと思います。前原さんでもその辺はわかるでしょ。
I've only survived because I rely on my parents, so the only reply I could give was a nod.
古出さんは特に村のお年寄りに慕われていますからね。この村にいる限り生きていくのにそんなに不自由はないでしょう。
そういえばそうですね。リカちゃんって村のマスコットみたいなところがありますからね。確かにこの村での生活には困らないように思います。
Rika could go meep just once and get two or three croquettes from a vendor after all. I felt like if she asked for help, everyone in the village would.
でもそれは古出さんだけの特別な事情です。聡子ちゃんも同じというわけではありません。
Ah. Rika being so spoiled was just an exception. Upon thinking about it normally, living on your own as a child should be fraught with difficulty. It wasn't, then, very difficult to imagine how much suffering Satoko had to go through just to live. It was very difficult to imagine. Was I really thinking that? No, I was only thinking the words. I couldn't imagine it in the slightest. How was I supposed to imagine it when I saw that annoying smile of hers? There was no way I could. I found out she was living apart from her brother, and I just kind of vaguely thought that it was rather unfortunate. I mean, Satoko was smiling so energetically every single day. Was I thinking that her smiling meant she wasn't hurt? That she didn't feel lonely? When she found out my parents were coming home the other night, Satoko said, "A family sitting around the dinner table is the most fun way to enjoy a meal of all." Those words held a lot more weight now.
あの子を養子に迎えようと本気で思ったこともあります。
養子？
It's a secret. After warning me, Coach put his index finger to his lips.
私はこの年になるまで 本当に堅実に生活してきました。財産もあるし信用もあります。ですが結婚だけはしてない。法律で既婚者でないと。だから私は、さとこちゃんを養子にしてあげられないんです。残念です。さとこちゃんにパパって呼んでもらえる計画は早くも頓挫ですから。
This guy spouts some crazy stuff. At first, I was only half listening, but midway through, I realized how rude that was. This coach person seriously only wished for this one girl, Satoko, to be happy. That was neither crazy nor was it nonsense. He just wanted her to be happy. Those were his true feelings.
さとこちゃんの今の生活は決して幸福なものではないでしょう。でもね、それをほんの少しでも和らげてあげたいと思ってるんです。もっとも余り物のお裾分けや力仕事のお手伝いくらいしかしてあげられませんがね。
幸せですよ、サトコ。
Coach showed surprise at my having declared
こんな
that.
にもサトコの幸せを強く願う人間がこんなに身近にいて不幸なわけがありません。
I spoke with a serious expression quietly, but firmly at the same time. It was my approval of his feelings and my gratitude as Satoko's Nini.
ありがとう。でもさとこちゃんには内緒にしてくださいね。彼女、私が養子にしたいなんて知ったら、こんなスケベ男なんか誰がパパと呼ぶものですかって。
I wonder. Satoko may have been somewhat childish, but she was still able to empathize with people. She'd call him that. I knew it. As if my feelings had gotten across, Coach grinned, satisfied, and returned his gaze to the hustle and bustle before us. Her parents and her older brother. She lost her family, had no relatives, and was huddled up with Rika, who was in the same situation. Satoko Hojo. It wouldn't be odd for her to look at her life with despair, but she didn't seem to feel that way. She lived energetically, with a smile.
あの子にはね、いつまでも笑っていてほしいんです。
It was a naive wish, and yet it was one that he couldn't help hoping for. So, the words that I spoke were the same.
奇遇ですね。俺も同じことを考えています。
おや、前原くんもですか？
おや？
では私たちは仲間ですね。約束しましょう。
仲間。
約束？
It's a very simple one, the coach said. The coach said this, giving me a grin.
絶対に彼女を泣かせたりしない。
It was short and to the point.
あ、はい。俺もそれ約束します。
Coach nodded happily. Nodded happily. God. We exchanged no more words after that. We just sat there comfortably, gazing at Satoko and everyone else having a good time. She'd certainly lost family, but there were people watching over her. How reassuring must that have been?
仮にですよ。サトコを養子にできたらどうします？
それは難しい質問ですね。
Coach gave a wry, happy smile, and exaggeratedly tilted his head in contemplation.
まずですね、私のことをご主人様と呼ばせて優しく可憐なメイドにします。
は？
は？
How does this guy always pick the craziest time to say the craziest things?
前原くん？
Oh, we got a new sprite. What about this one? Okay. And this disgusting, vile creature. This skinwalker. This doppelganger. I hate that art style so much. Anyway.
私まだ何も言ってませんよ。
何言ってんですか？今はっきりと言ったじゃないですか。
そうそう。
え？シオン？ What the fuck? I'll voice my theories in a bit, but what is she doing here?
サトコを自分専属のプリッチーなメイドにするってはっきり言いました。
ああ、それはいいですね。さとこちゃんをプリチー。
あ、プリティとプリチーは似てるようで微妙に違いますからね。日本のわびさびをミックスした和洋折衷の言葉なので注意してください。
は？
なるほどな。いやー、日本語はほんと奥が深いよな。
そうそう、ケイちゃんはよく理解してます。ではそういうことで。
My hand shot out and grabbed Shion, smiling, waving, and about to leave, by the nape of her neck.
おい待てこら、突然現れて何をとんでもないことを言ってやがるんだ。
とんでもないことって言ったら、ケイちゃんと監督がしてたサトコラブなトークの方がよっぽどとんでもないと思いましたけど、養子縁組のあたりから再現してご覧に入れます？
お前そんな時から息を潜めていやがったのか。
お姉にすらかなわないケイちゃんが私に歯向かおうなんて100年早いってことです。
Wait, what the fuck? So we know of Shion in this chapter? Like, this is the first time we've seen her in chapter 3 at all. In chapter 2, we saw her around this time time as well, around sub chapter 4, which is what we're playing through right now, where we met, or was it sub chapter 3, where we met her at Angel Mort, and we were wondering if it was actually Mion in the restaurant instead of Shion. What the fuck? So I guess in this chapter we have met Shion, but we're not, like, quote unquote, like, dating her. We're not getting close enough to her to, like, have her be romantically interested in us, at least in this chapter. Or maybe she will be, I don't know. This was Shion Sonozuki, the younger of the Sonozuki twins. Though she hadn't the scrape of the reserved quality you'd expect from a little sister, she was a villain no better than her older sister, Mion. We met the other day in town, and I dug myself into a hole when I mistook her for Mion. Unlike Mion, Shion said she was living in Okinomiya. So I thought we'd never see each other again, but to think we actually would. My frankly displeased expression didn't change a bit either. This must be what people meant when they say something is like water off a duck's back.
シオンさん、よく来てくれましたね。来てくれないと思ってがっかりしてたんですよ。
まあ他にすることが思いつかなかったってことです。ちょっとからかいに行こうかなくらいですので。
監督、どうしてシオンが戦勝祝賀会に呼ばれなくちゃなんないんです？こいつがどうチームの勝利に貢献したっていうのか。
それはですね、実は私がひなみ沢ファイターズのマネージャーだからなんです。
Huh?
マネージャー？
But she doesn't even go here. She doesn't even go to her school.
嘘だろ？そんならなんで昨日の試合にいなかったんだよ。
マネージャーはマネージャーでも幽霊マネージャーですから。
She's only there in spirit. Well, no pun intended. She seemed to think I'd forgive her if she stuck her tongue out and smiled. She wasn't sorry at all.
シオンちゃんが来てくれないと試合に花がないんです。練習までとは言いませんから、試合にくらいまた昔みたいに応援に来てくれませんかね。
まあ考えておきます。ケイちゃんがひなみ沢ファイターズに移籍するんなら考えてもいいかな。
Oh, Kei-chan. She's flirting with you.
私
Again.
かっこいい男の子がいないと応援する張り合いがないんです。
Eh? Did Shion just smoothly say something absurd? Yeah.
あんたまだどこから湧いて出たの？
Suddenly, Mion came running over, latched onto my shoulders, and pulled me towards her. Oh no. You're gonna fight over me again.
妹さんだ。しーちゃん、こんにちは。
レナさん、こんにちは。まだ1回しか会ってないのに名前を覚えてもらって光栄です。
あ、こちらこそ。レナの名前を覚えててくれてありがとう。
そんな挨拶はどうでもいいの。ケイちゃんの勧誘なんてダメだからね。ケイちゃんは我が部のホープなんだから、野球なんかに引っこ抜かないで。
Mion gave a low growl as she grappled my arm. She looked like a little girl desperately clinging to her toy.
ケイチ君はうちの部活の期待の新人なの。だからトレードとかは全然ダメなんだよ。
Rena's smile hid in a nonchalant bloodthirst. She was blocking Shion's way, ready to unleash an ultimate attack if she got within 2 meters of me. I felt like this was gonna turn into a bloody battle.
それは残念です。じゃあ交渉はまたの機会に。あんたに交渉権なんかないの。単独なんでシオンまで呼んだわけ。シオンは丸1年もサボってる幽霊部員じゃ
ない。シオンちゃんがいると賑やかになって楽しいかなって思ったんですけどね。実に賑やかになりました。
That is what he planned for all along. Mission accomplished.
ほら、ケイちゃんおいでおいで。みんなでゲームやるよ。もちろん罰ゲーム付きでね。
しーちゃんもどう？ルールは簡単だし楽しいよ。
どうしようかな。私が参加すると勝っちゃいますから。
Oh.
お姉の部長としての面目を潰しちゃうと悪いですし。
Mion, now irritated, turned around with a glare.
なんですお姉。私も一緒に参加して姉妹対決にした方がいいですか？多分やめといた方がお姉のためだと思いますけど。
My god.
あかんべー。塩なんか混ぜてやらない。仲間外れ。べーだ。
Whoa, Mion just avoided a direct confrontation. It seemed like the twins are completely incompatible with each other.
混ぜてあげないの？みーちゃんとの対決見たかったかな？
Me too, I wonder what that would have been like.
私シオン嫌い。あいつと戦うのは苦手なの。
An angry Mion dragged me away.
頑張ってくださいね。
I guess the implication would be that since Mion is her sister, she's able to read her like properly, as in Shion knows exactly all of Mion's tells, so she'd be able to easily beat her, and maybe Mion doesn't know Shion's.
ここで応援してますから。ケイちゃん、ファイト。おう。
Shion waved her hand at us, reveling in the bliss of teasing Mion. Alright. Club activities had begun, which meant I needed to clear my mind. What was today's battle? Today's punishment game. I'd take anything on.
ほらほらケイチさん、覚悟なさいませよ。今日は徹底的に行きますわよ。
おう、上等だぜ。サトコだろうと誰だろうと手加減無用でぶっ潰してやるぜ。
そこをレナは漁夫のりで優勝だよ。僕はそれに小判ザメで優勝を狙いますです。はう、リカちゃんが小判ザメみたいにペター。お持ち帰り。
I don't know why she said this of all things. Oh, right. Sorry, I completely ignored Rika's line, but I mean, you heard her say it, and I mean the line is here also in Japanese. where she calls her petan, which means like specifically like flat-chested, or it's used specifically to refer to people who are flat-chested. But okay.
よしみんな、今日は大人数だから簡単で分かりやすいゲームにしよう。今日のゲームはね。
Oh, and that's the halfway mark of the chapter. With the best song playing, of course. Everyone who lost the game dropped out and had to help clean up after the barbecue. Shion laughed more uproariously than anyone I'd ever heard when she saw my loser face. Okay. Was my getting bombed out of the game really that funny?
いやいや、あの時のケイちゃんの顔。お前らそれでも人間かよ。みたいな。
ちくしょう、長期の買い占めまでは作戦通りだったのに、あそこでサトコとリカちゃんの裏切りさえなければ。
It was going great while we had maintained a united front, but Satoko had been quicker to betray me than I her. She was just a tiny bit better than me. Ugh.
だから北条を信じちゃいけないって警告したんですよ。
Wait, are they included here? They are. Okay. Tomita and Okamura were unanimously wearing I told you so faces. Incidentally, those two were victims of Satoko's traps pretty early on as well.
さあ、富田君たちの分まで頑張るつもりだったのにな。
And once again, for the showdown, it didn't matter. Maybe this meant I still couldn't match up to the other members yet.
で、部活メンバーの最下位には何か罰ゲームがあるってことになってるんじゃなかったでしたっけ？
Shion remarked, as though forcing me to recall something I tried to forget even for a moment.
そうだったかな。
そういえば前原さん、委員長と罰ゲームを決めるときかなり熱くなってましたけど、
Yeah,
一
what on
体何を罰ゲームにしたんですか？
yeah, what on earth did we decide, Keiji?
さっきお姉にエンジェルモードの制服を調達してくれって頼まれたんですけど、それと何か関係あります？できる限り大きめのサイズでって言われたんですけど。
Oh no, she knew we'd fucking lose. That's so mean. Tomita and Okamura were giving me these complex, indescribable looking mixing empathy, pity, and the desire to see something scary all at once. Oh, I hate that laugh. It's so fucking terrible. All I could do now was laugh. Strangely enough, the more I laughed, the more I felt like it was actually funny. I lost.
あれあれ
No, I'm back to normal sprites.
前原さん、どうしちゃったんですか？笑ったり泣いたり吠えたり。
いいんです。あれは嫌がってるふりのジェスチャーなんです。罰ゲームを口実に得られる貴重な経験に興奮を隠せないだけなんです。
She's calling us a fucking pervert. Oh my god, Shion.
何が貴重な経験とは。
I held my head in my hands in agony. My state of mind could be summed up with a three-letter word. It was... Coach gently put his hands on my shoulders. Was he comforting me?
前原さん、苦境を受け入れなければならない時はですね、厳しい指導を受けているメイドであると想像するんです。
Oh my god.
ほら、絶望的なシチュエーションがなんだか楽しそうになってきませんか？いい いじゃないですか。
Red in the face and indulging in his imagination, still holding my shoulders, Coach said. I'm not reading that. And started twirling around. He said something embarrassing and started twirling around like a ballerina. I had to wonder what kind of word associations he had going on in his face, or in his head. At the very least, it was much different than it was much different than what was in mine. The first thing that comes into mind when I think of domestication certainly isn't maids.
富田君、岡村君、君たちの監督は実に面白いな。こんなのでよく監督が務まるな。
Yeah, he's he's pretty out there. Tomita and Okamura exchanged glances and answered with dry smiles. Then they added that he really was a nice person, most of the time, which is something you'd normally say about a person like that. The coach's questionable revolution slow to a stop, and then his expression returned to a clear, calm one, almost making what had just happened seem like an illusion. He can switch gears way too fast.
では、お片付けを続けましょう。前原さんは力持ちみたいですからね。プレートを水場に持って行って洗っていただけますか？
了解です。
I hoisted the dirty barbecue plates, each with slimy oil clinging to it, and looked for the wash bins or basins. These are heavy. Where are the wash bins? Over there? Figuring I should make it there before my arms gave out, I headed towards it at a trot. A lot of the adults who had been helping out were using the wash basins, so I gave up and looked for a different set. I asked them, and they told me there were more right by the assembly hall too, so I decided to head that way. Rather than multiple basins, there was just one faucet here. Or there. I initially thought it would be too small to wash plates as big as these, but it probably would still be faster than waiting for a faucet to open back there. I turned the faucet and water much nicer looking than it gushed forth. Put a plate under the faucet and scrubbed it with my hand to try to rub it clean. It didn't go very well.
はい。スポンジとクレンザー。そんなの水だけで洗ったって無理です。
Right. It was Shion. She threw a brand new sponge in a container filled with cleaner to me.
お、サンキュー。
そんなの洗い場に置いて大人たちに任せちゃえばいいのに。つくづくケイちゃんっていい人です。
I got the feeling that wasn't quite a compliment. I answered her with a forced smile.
シオンがひなみ沢ファイターズのマネージャーだったなんて驚いたぜ。そういうのはめんどくさがってやらないやつだと思ってた。
ええ、めんどくさいですよ。ですから今は完全に幽霊ですけどね。
監督、帰ってきてほしいって言ってたじゃないか。たまには帰ってきてやれよ。
まあ気が向いたら。
Shion made it sound like the end of the world could happen before she felt like it. Whoops. I couldn't keep washing the dishes while preoccupied with the conversation, so I decided to take my task seriously. Shion neither offered to help nor got in my way. She just quietly watched the water flowing from the faucet.
そうそう、聞きましたよ。昨日の試合、ケイちゃんが大活躍したそうじゃないですか。
褒めるなら、俺よりもホームランを決めたサトコの方だろう。あいつ、運動神経良かったんだな。俺驚いたよ。
サトシ君とは大違いです。きっと運動神経は妹に全部取られちゃったに違いないですね。
Shion smiled as she spoke, her eyes looking at something far away, betraying her reminiscence.
サトシ君？
北条サトコの兄です。
Uh-oh.
北条サトシ君。あ、そっか。ケイちゃんって今年引っ越してきたんでしたっけ？なら会ったことありませんね。
Right. I was a little surprised that Shion knew about
会った
Satoshi.
ことはないけど、少しは知ってるよ。確か両親が亡くなった後、転校したんだよな。
I avoided saying that he ran away from home and used the slightly more vague words that everyone else did.
転校？誰がそんなこと言ったんですか？
Oh? I hadn't yet realized that Shion's tone had changed slightly.
いや、誰って。
She looks so, she looks so menacing. That's, what's going on, Shion?
誰だっけかな。うん、誰かに聞いたんだよ。転校したって。
その誰かって誰ですか？誰かに聞いたから言ってるんですよね、転校って。
誰に聞いたかなんてよく覚えてないよ。転校だって言うならそれでいいだろ。別に問題があるわけじゃないし。
ありますよ。転校届が出されたわけですか？学校とかに。それを誰かが見た？
This is a very weird, like, line of questions to be asked. Like, remember, we've technically just moved to this village. We've been here for like about a week. And we're like, oh yeah, I think I heard that he transferred or some shit. And I mean, technically, we did hear about it, I'm pretty sure. Like, Rena probably would have mentioned it, or one of the other kids would have mentioned it. And now Shion is like, oh really? Did he fucking transfer? Did you see it happen? Is there a record of it somewhere?
それとも聞いた？
She's getting very heated about this. Around that time, I not only noticed how awfully caught up on this Shion was, but also how startlingly dangerous her eyes had begun to look.
シオン、なんだよお前。目がマジだぞ。
With that, Shion seemed to realize the expression she was making. She took a deep breath, pretended to fix her hair, and went back to her composed expression from before. Oh my god.
すみません。
And now we have this one. What the fuck, Shion? And now she just looks... She's just like, I'm just a girl, bro. Like, that's it.
でもケイちゃん。
The way her collarbone is drawn is also very weird in this shot. It's kind of odd. I feel like her neck is in the wrong place. Like, it should be shifted a little bit more to the right and be a little more centered. Same with her chin and the center of her, of like that little gap in her collarbone. I feel like that should be a little bit wider and or shifted a little bit more to the right as well. I don't know, it looks weird. But either way, it's better than the fucking manga gamer art, so I can't complain.
よく知りもしないでサトシ君のこと、転校とか言わないでください。本当に。お願いしますね。
Okay. I realized I must have said something I shouldn't have, but I wasn't immediately sure of what I should apologize for, so I just said one safe word for now. Sorry.
なんとなく転校と聞かされて、そうだと信じてたんだよ。じゃあ、実際は違うのか？
It was, of course. Preceded by his parents, he had left his sister and ran away. But I wanted to try to avoid using the words ran away or run away, so I pretended not to know. Upon seeing my flustered reply, Shion realized she was intimidating me and lowered her voice.
すみません。別にケイちゃんを責めてるわけじゃないんです。ちょっと言葉がきつすぎましたね。
Just a wee bit.
謝ります。
別に気にしてないよ。
That was a fib. I was actually a little scared even. Was there something wrong with saying he ran away? Was there some sort of misunderstanding in saying that he transferred? But before I could ask her, she turned on her heel to leave.
おい、シオン。
じゃあ、頑張ってください。ケイちゃんのプレートで最後みたいですよ。洗い物。
Her final remark reminded me of the dishes I had so easily forgotten about. So immersed in conversation we were that it got pretty late. I turned the faucet again to get the water flowing faster. I violently scrubbed the plate. When I turned back around, Shion was no longer there. By the time I'd finished washing the plates, most of the other things had been cleaned up. The air had cooled off before I realized it, and as the heat that had stuck with us all day dispersed, a nice breeze started to flow. But that's it. That's the end of the chapter. Huh. Unless there's another shift, and we're getting 2 transitions.
では皆さん、
Oh my god.
集合です。
I think this is the first time we've had 2 transitions in a chapter. Usually, whenever we have just like the story segment, we have it up until like around this point when it's like sunset, and then we have the transition to like nighttime or the afternoon, or we have it until like after school, and then we transition to the afternoon/night. Coach got everyone together to make his closing remarks, and with that, another fun day drew to its close. My god. In the end, Mion ended the game with a magnificent victory. Satoko and Rika, who had labored so hard to betray me, had fallen into a huge trap afterwards, leaving them frustrated about more than a few things.
人を裏切る奴はいつか自分も裏切られる。いい見本だな。
そんなこと圭一さんに言われたくありませんわ。レナは誰の口車にも乗らなかったからね。2位になれたんだよ。レナはなかなか嘘に引っかからないのです。勘がいいのですよ。
I'm surprised. She seems like she would fall for the first lie to come her way. Oh no.
それを言ったらケイちゃんでしょ。他人を食い物にしてやろうと欲張って真っ先に自分が食い物に。友達を紹介すれば紹介するほど高収入なんてバカな商法に引っかかるんじゃないよ。
へいへい。
Don't fall for a pyramid scheme,
努力し
Keiichi.
ますよ。とほほほ。
Even good friends will lay traps mercilessly and betray everyone inside once they get into a serious enough game. But despite that, once it's all over, they can feel refreshed and laugh together. It reminded me of how we were all such great friends.
それよりも圭一さんの罰ゲームが楽しみでございますわね。でも本当に実現できますの？店長さんもそんなの嫌だって言うと思いましたよ。どうだろう。圭一くんすっごく可愛くなるかも。
Oh no.
なるかも。見てみたいかも。僕もとても楽しみなのですよ。転ばせてふきふきをさせますです。
ああ、それはいいね。
なぜここ一番で俺は勝てないんだ。今日は絶対に勝ちたい。この罰ゲームは誰かにやらせてみたいと思うといつも負け。足りないのか。
I didn't mean to skip.
勝利への信念が足りないのか。うわ
敗者の嘆きは蜜の味ですわね。かわいそうなのです。
Pat. Oh no.
圭一くんもこうやって強くなっていくんだね。去年のみーちゃんを見てるみたい。
Mi-chan last year. What? Did she always lose and moan about it in the past? How very interesting. I didn't know our undefeated president Mion was once like that.
余計なことは言わなくていいの。
Mion hastily covered Rena's mouth. Everyone watching burst out laughing. Finally, Rika pulled on Satoko's sleeve.
さて、僕たちはそろそろ行かないといけないのです。お夕飯のお買い物に行かないといけませんわね。
I wanted to keep talking like this forever, but it was getting late. We split up with Satoko and Rika and decided to go our own way.
じゃあまた明日。
Also, Gabriel, thanks so much for the follow. Really appreciate it. And it looks like we reached our next like follow goal or something. Crazy. Anyway,
学校で会おうね。
everyone waved to each other and split up for the short time between now and tomorrow.
じゃあ行こう。
We began walking down the tall staircase leading from the shrine grounds. As the sun started to set, the afternoon's heat began to disappear as though it were never there. Just listening to the chorus of the Higurashis was enough to make me forget about how hot it had been today.
そういえばまだ6月なんだよね。
Oh, thanks, man. Like I'm shocked. I've actually been getting like quite a few people like show up from YouTube to the live streams, which is really neat. Because I mean, at least here you get to catch them live, so that's like the best part. Especially those that have already like played through Higurashi, they end up like enjoying kind of like hearing me theorize. At least that's what I've learned, and at least my friends that I've had over like during our post-chapter discussions, they've had similar thoughts as well, so I can kind of see the appeal. And now after I like get through this, I want to watch other people's like reactions to some of the stuff that happens in the franchise, especially some of those key moments from like chapter 1 and 2.
今年は梅雨とか全然ないでいきなり夏みたいな感じだね。
Now that I thought about it, she was right. It was June, the season of long rain, of hydrangeas, hydrangeas and snails. I haven't seen a real rainy season since transferring here.
週間予報によると週明けあたりからはもうちょっと梅雨らしい天気になるらしいよ。大雨注意とか言ってたから。綿流しにぶつからなきゃいいんだけど。
そうなんだ。やっぱり梅雨は梅雨らしい方がいいよね。レナは梅雨の長雨って結構好きだよ。
長雨なんて気がめいるだけだって。
Yeah, I don't think we've had a rainy episode yet. Or chapter.
ちゃん。
I was a little spaced out, so I was late in answering Mion. I was thinking back to my conversation with her sister. When I said that Satoshi transferred, Shion clearly got angry. She was mad at me for saying something so careless. I mean, it may have been a vague way of skirting around the fact that he ran away from home. But I don't think it was so bad that Shion would need to feel mad about it. I wasn't really satisfied with it. I felt like a child completely ignorant of what he was being scolded for. So my thoughts spilled out of my mouth in a very direct fashion.
サトコに兄貴って言ったよな。
Yeah, I was thinking of maybe making like a sort of compilation for all like the key moments, at least in my playthrough, and maybe making a reaction of it. I don't know. I'll think about it. But yeah, this is chapter 3. No, sorry, chapter 4. That we're starting at the moment, or we're almost done with.
サトシって名前だっけ？
As soon as I said the name Satoshi, Rena and Mion both lost their relaxed, comfortable mood and made strange expressions. Should I have avoided talking about this? That's what they made me think. But I've already said it, so that's that. And I'd be lying if I said I wasn't interested.
サトシってどうしたんだっけ？引っ越したんだっけ？
That was such a transparent way of putting it, but in my desire to know everything, I feigned ignorance. Mion turned around and looked to Rena for assistance. Rena looked between us, then quietly and softly spoke.
あれ言わなかったかな。転校しちゃったんだよ。
When I said those words to Shion, she got upset. So I had answered her with the same words Shion had given me.
転校って誰がそんなことを言ったんだよ。
Oh my god, Keiichi, what the fuck are you doing? Is he looking angrily at them as well? Is he scowling at them and be like, transferred? Who the fuck told you something like that? I had only intended to borrow Shion's words, but I said it exactly the same way she had, right down to the thorns in my voice. Oh no, Keiichi. When I realized what I had done, I immediately tried to soften my
本
remark.
当に転校したなら転校届とかが学校に提出されるはずだろ。
Jesus fuck, what are you saying,
で
Keiichi?
もそんなの実際には出てないんじゃないのか？
Mion and Rena, their eyes grew wide. They were at a loss for words. I started to feel like I was doing something really bad. Now, mind you, in Onikakshi and Watanagashi, chapter 6, I believe it was. It has been. I mean, I know this every other time, but I'm like sleepy, and it's been like a week since we've actually played through the Higurashi chapter. But if I recall, around the sub chapter 6 of each chapter is when we have the Watanagashi, and that's usually the halfway mark. At some point between that, or before that, usually around chapter 4, subchapter 4 or subchapter 5, we're told of the Watanagashi, what it's about, that we're going to be a part of it, and we're told of of course, the mysterious disappearances and the deaths that happen each year. Now, in the first two chapters, it was Tomitake and Okamura-kun? I believe? No. Not Okamura, what am I saying? It's Takano. Okamura and Takano. No, fuck. Tomitake and Tanako. Those were the two that would tell us about the stories, and then also about the Watanagashi that's going to happen, or that's happening at the moment. That's going to be happening soon, I mean. And then we're told about the disappearances, we're told about the deaths, but we haven't been told that. So I'm wondering if Rena and Mion are going to tell us this time about it. So, I mean, I guess we'll find out. I thought they were only hiding the fact that Satoko's older brother ran away out of consideration for her.
別に二人を責めてるわけじゃないんだぜ。ただサトシはどうしたのかなって聞いてみてるだけのつもりで。
I wasn't trying to blame them. The fact that I had to remind them even looked like I was tormenting them with an impossible question. No, maybe I was actually bullying them. Maybe I had lashed out of them in retaliation for Shion getting mad at me. This whole day had become so much fun, but now... Why did I go and say something that made all of that meaningless? I couldn't help but regret my own careless curiosity. That's enough. Let's drop it now. As I was about to say that, Mion spoke up.
別に隠そうとか騙そうとか、そういうつもりじゃないのを分かってほしいんだけど。
Mion's tone conveyed her genuine awkwardness. They sounded like the excuses of a child who had been presented with evidence of her own mischief.
サトシは、転校したわけじゃないんだよ。
And now we have a change in music. Mion said, resigning herself, but I felt bad for pushing her to say that. So, it's okay, Mion. Let's stop talking about Satoshi. Sorry for teasing you. I wanted to apologize, but right before that...
帰ってこないの。
Unlike Mion's stammered reply, Rena was extremely clear and resolute.
帰ってこないって。
ある日から家に帰ってこないの。
He won't come back. That was a very strange way of putting it. Normally, you would say that he hadn't come back yet. At least, I thought you'd only say it like Rena did if he wasn't capable of coming back. You wouldn't say it like that when talking about someone who ran away from home.
帰ってこないってどういう意味だよ。じゃあサトシはどこへ行ったんだよ。
知らない。
Rena's words choice felt very cold to me. It was so cold that I couldn't muster a response right away.
だからさ、レナの言う通りなんだよ。ある日を境に、サトシは家に帰ってこなかった。
Mion noticed the deadlock between us and hurriedly followed up on what Rena had said.
まあ村中みんなで探したし、警察も方々を探してくれたよ。それで家出じゃないかって話になってさ。
家出じゃないかって話になって。
When running away from home, I thought you were supposed to leave a note or something. So when Satoshi ran away, you would probably have left some kind of a letter apologizing to Satoko. That was just kind of what I figured. But from the way Mion was talking, it seemed a little different than just running away from home.
警察の人が調べたらさ、サトシってバイトとかでコツコツとお金を貯めててさ、それを いなくなった日に全部下ろしてたのが分かったんだよ。で名古屋駅だかでサトシによく似た人が目撃されたとかで。
He withdrew all of his savings to fund his escape from home. Was that it? It seemed consistent enough to me, but before I could say anything,
私はそんなの嘘だと思う。サトシ君は家出なんかじゃない。
declared Irena shortly.
ちょっと待てよ。転校したわけでもなく、引っ越したわけでもなく、それで家出したわけでもないなら、一体サトシはどうして？
やめなよレナ。
Mion whispered to her. Irena, however, continued without interruption, and then she said this.
だってこれはお社様のたたりだもの。
たたりだの。鬼隠し、Tatarigoroshi. So Tatari is curse, probably. See if I can find the kanji for it. It's probably that kanji at near the end. And that probably means curse. Let me check. Because it could be. Or at least I'm assuming it is. Such a long fucking kanji too. Takashi. Interesting. Anyway.
たたり
Actually, here. It'll probably be better. Oh. Well, here he just spells it out, but he doesn't use the kanji for it. Huh? It took some time before I understood what Rena meant by that. Mion clicked her tongue and shook her head a little.
サトシ君は消える前に私に教えてくれた。誰かに見張られている。
Ah. And now we have glossy-eyed Rena again.
後をつけられている。家の中にまでついてくる。寝るとき枕元に立って見下ろしてるって教えてくれた。
やめなよレナ。
それは間違いなくお社様のたたりの前兆。きっとサトシ君は心のどこかでひなみ沢を捨てて逃げ出そうという気持ちがあったんだと思う。それをお社様は許さなかった。
だからやめなって。
お社様はひなみ沢の守り神様。ひなみ沢を捨てて逃げ出そうとする人を絶対に許さない。私はそれを謝った。でもサトシ君はきっと謝らなかった。だから。
We haven't seen this Rena sprite. Because I wasn't showing the console ones, I think, in the first part. When she got mad. Or in the first chapter, I mean.
お社様のたたりに会ってしまったに違いないの。
お社様のたたりだって？
I hadn't intended to repeat it, but the words came out of my mouth anyway. To an extent, the console sprites are kind of generic, because I mean they are, you know, very stylized, especially like for the 2006 era, just about. I believe that's when the console ports of this game came out. It was either 2005 or 6 or something. So they're very of their time, but they have a lot more soul than whatever the fuck this is. Because oh my god, that looks fucking horrifying. Ugh, that looks so gross. But these are still probably my favorite. Oyashiro-sama's curse.
警察が家出だって決めつけたって信じない信じない。私は絶対に信じない。そんなの
たたりだと認めたくない村の偉い人たちが決めただけの嘘っぱち。お社様のたたりは信じようと信じまいと確かに。
Mion struck Rena in the head. And not in a joking way either.
いい加減にしろって言ってるでしょ。
Oh. Now she's like not amused.
恩和の私でも島には怒るよ。
Pushing her to her limits. Actually, there was plenty of displeasure and anger in Mion's face at the moment. For a few moments, after being hit, Rena looked astonished. Perhaps the voices of the Higurashi calmed her frantic mind, because after a little while, she regained her original calm expression. We arrived at the place we always split up with Mion. No one said a word until we got there. The voices of the Higurashi just tortured our ears with their buzzing. We'd always split up with Mion here, leaving just Rena and me.
あのさ、ケイちゃん。前に漫画化すって約束したじゃない？よかったら寄ってく？
Huh? She promised that? However, I quickly realized that it was a convenient way of saying she wanted to talk to me alone.
そうなんだ。
Oh, I see how it fucking is. I haven't seen the Umineko pachinko sprites. But then again, I haven't been exposed much to Umineko. But I know that that's coming. That's for sure, after we get done with Higurashi.
じゃあ、レナは先に帰ってるね。
I see how it is. Maybe she realized it. Maybe she didn't. I don't know, Keiichi. Thankfully, Rena quickly said she'd go home before us.
じゃあね、レナ。また明日。
うん。また明日ね。ケイチくんもあまりお邪魔しすぎないようにね。もう夕方だから。
ちょっと本を借りに寄るだけだよ。
Yeah, just a few books.
じゃあな。
Considering the fun day we'd had, it was a very insipid, lonely parting.
さっきの、あまり気にしないでね。
Yeah, I'll try to go into Umineko as blind as possible. All I know is that Battler is in it, but that's because I've seen him before, and I've seen a little bit of the fighting game, and like that's about it. But as for like what actually happens in it, I have no idea. Probably murder mystery or something, like in some mansion like Resident Evil. Anyway, quite some time had passed since splitting up with Rena.
いや、別に。俺の方が悪かったと思う。
サトシの話は、別に隠してたわけじゃないんだよ。あまり触れない方がいい話だからさ。
At this point, I understood exactly what she meant by that. Judging by her odd interactions with Rena, I understood so well it hurt that I shouldn't ever talk about it again. Actually, if that's the case, then with Shion too. No, this is a bigger problem. Talking about it in the first place had been indiscreet. I shouldn't have been interested in it at all, but that's why I really had to think about it. About why everyone got so irritated. Idiot. Stop this, Keiichi. By the time I tried to warn myself, I had accidentally spoken already.
もう二度と聞かないからさ、正直なところを教えてくれないか。一体、サトシに何があったんだ。家で、なんだろう。
For a long time, Mion remained silent, but finally, unable to endure it any longer, she began to speak timidly.
お社様のたたりの話は、聞いたことある？
ほんの少しくらいなら。
I got the gist of it. I only overheard someone in class talking about it, though. Oyashiro-sama was the name of the deity protecting Hinamizawa, that they worshipped at the shrine we had the barbecue at today. A few years ago, when they started talking about flooding Hinamizawa as part of the dam project, one of the people worked on site. This translation, right? Because I have it set to 0. Sorry. One of the people who worked on site died or something. and people blamed it on the Yashiro-sama's curse. That's how it was.
サトシの死んだ親ってのがさ、ダムの誘致派でね。
え、ひなみ沢の人って村中でダムに反対してたんじゃないのか？村人なのにダムの賛成派もいたのか？
The dam project that would flood the entirety of Hinamizawa. I'd heard the village all got together to fight the terrible project, but it was a little hard to believe that there were villagers who were supporting it.
まあ、いろいろと事情もあってね。
Oh, we haven't seen this sprite since the last bit of when Mion was talking to us all calmly at the end. Like this specific sprite.
ダム計画に反対する人ばかりでもなかったんだけどさ。で、その親ってのが誘致派のリーダー格だったんだよ。
Oh my god.
誘致派のリーダー格。つまり聡子とサトシの親がってことだよな。
うん。国はダム工事に伴って多額の保証金を用意してたからね。そのお金が欲しくてダム計画に賛成してた人たちも結構いたんだよ。
Aside from a few households, Hinamizawa was, in general, not very affluent. And not because they were proud to inherit the land of their ancestors. It wouldn't be strange if some people wanted enough money to start a new life. But even in that case, they would have had to hesitate to say so, given the situation. It just happened to be Satoko and Satoshi's parents who understood that and stood up to be the representative. By that standard, you might say Satoko and Satoshi's parents were very heroic. They volunteered to be hated, all to help those without much money who didn't have a voice.
それで運悪くその両親がさ、お社様を祀るお祭りの日に事故死しちゃったんだよね。それでお社様のたたりにあったんじゃないかってことになっちゃったわけ。
I thought back to what Coach told me today. They went to a nature park on a family outing and fell from a cliff.
で、サトシが家出したのまでお社様のたたりってことにされちまったわけか。
まあ、そんな感じ。
It was a bit of an evasive reply, but I felt it was wrong to ask any further, so I didn't press her for details.
もう説明するまでもないと思うけどさ、聡子にとっては両親の事故もサトシの家出も、そしてお社様のたたりなんて話も愉快な話じゃないのはわかるでしょ。
Yeah, of course I knew. I could only nod silently.
だからさ、私たちは聡子の家族の話には触れないことにしてる。サトシのことは仮に聞かれても転校したってごまかすことにしてる。その辺の事情を汲み取ってもらえるよね。
They wanted to protect Satoko's happiness, her smile. As someone who thought that way once, even for a short time, I really did regret having been imprudent enough to broach the topic to begin with.
ああ、わかるよ。俺も軽はずみなことを聞いたと後悔してる。
When she heard that, Mion smiled, seeming a little relieved. With that understanding, thinking that I should get going, I began to make my way home. I could really have stopped by Mion's house, but it was already too late. I'd stop by again next time I had the chance.
じゃあな、ミオン。今日は悪かったな。また明日な。
じゃあね。
We waved to each other. Then, suddenly remembering something, Mion called out to me.
ケイちゃん、あとさ、聡子にだけじゃなく、レナの前でもサトシの話は慎んでくれるかな。
え？
さっきので分かったと思うけどさ、レナってどういうわけかお社様のたたりの話だけは笑い事で済まないんだよ。転校してきた時から。
Yeah. Judging by how Rena was acting earlier, it was clearly no laughing matter to her. Mion had interrupted the conversation for us. But if Mion hadn't been here, what might have happened?
どうしてレナは あんなにマジになるんだろうな。
Not only Rena either, but Shion too.
知らない。レナはね。あ、これ内緒だよ。言ったら絶好だよ。
Mion emphasized this as her expression clouded even further.
言わないよ。で、レナが何だってんだよ。
お社様のたたりに会ったことあるんだって。
え？
私は悪いけど被害妄想過剰な何かの思い込みじゃないかって思ってるんだけどね。でも本人はそう言ってるし、そう信じてる。
Right. And we learned about this in part 1, if I recall.
茶化すとかなり怒る。
Or chapter 1, I mean.
レナは普段はちゃらけてるけど、怒るとかなり怖い。
分かってるよ。レナの前でも言うなってことだろ。サトシの話。
うん。できればこの話題にも二度と触れるべきじゃないと思うね。レナのためにも。
Yeah, no worries, Gabriel. Thanks for stopping by. We'll probably stream again tomorrow. If not, Saturday we'll continue with Higurashi. Again, we're trying to like have some slightly longer streams to make up for the past. But yeah, hopefully you can make it to those.
サトコのためにもさ。
For everyone else's too. And if I must say, for your own sake too, Kei-chan. With her silence, Mion made sure I knew that.
そうだな。分かったよ。
ありがとう。
Saying only that, she waved her hand and began walking away. I watched her go, a little dazed, and then started walking myself. Satoko's older brother, Satoshi. He had run away from home. Or had he been a victim of the curse and disappeared forever? Whichever the case, none of this was anything I should have asked about. The cooling air forced me into self-reflection. I wanted Satoko to smile. Yet my curiosity easily defeated me, and I frivolously tried to step into the dark side of things in a joking way. Shameful. I wanted today to be exactly like yesterday. I wanted tomorrow to be just as fun as today too. So why did I go and do something like that? We were having a blast at the baseball game yesterday, and today we had a blast at the big barbecue party too. It was a lot of fun. But then I went and almost nullified all of those fun times. I would have to be more careful starting tomorrow. I would put all this unpleasant stuff behind me forever. Like how I'm gonna let my enjoyable life end because of how careless I was today. But the more I thought that I'd be more careful starting tomorrow, the more I couldn't get rid of the ominous thought that I had already put an end to those enjoyable days with what I'd just done. Hey, wait. Calm down, Keiji. The gears of destiny are freaking gigantic, aren't they? What happened just now was trivial. It doesn't make any sense to think my life will be totally different starting tomorrow. But even though I understood it logically, the mist in my heart wasn't going to fade. Until tomorrow turned out to be as fun as today.
変だぞ俺。さっきのみんなとのやりとり、ちょっと気にしすぎだぜ。
I wish tomorrow would come already. I wanted it to make me understand how absurd my insignificant doubts really were. The night was long. Oh, hey, Bean. Yeah, I noticed you followed a while back. Thanks so much for stopping by the way. Thanks so much for enjoying the YouTube videos as well. But alright, we managed to reach the end of the chapter. So let's go over the tips, and we'll probably call it here, because I'm kind of cutting it close to, like stopping time, or the time I would need to stop. So let's just view the new tips, and then we'll go from there. So we've got the Slacking Manager, copy of the Preliminary Autopsy, and the East Round 3. What autopsy? Oh god, okay, well, let's start with the Slacking Manager. As usual, we'll go left to right.
シオンさんも少しは手伝ってください。
女の子に重いものを運ばせようって言うんですか？そんなだからいい。
ですね。
Fuck.
そういうのを曰くこう言います。余計なお世話です。
Sorry, it said like, Shion-san, why don't you help out a little? Are you asking a girl to carry something heavy? This is why you still haven't found a nice lady at your age, coach. Well, you see, at times like these, here's what people say. It's none of your business. He was loading the station wagon with heaps of equipment we'd use for today's barbecue meeting. All the fathers and sons who had helped were starting to get on their way.
さて、シオンさんはどうしますか？あなた、ここまでは何で来ました？自転車でしたら、積んで送って差し上げますよ。
バイクだからいいです。お心遣いだけで嬉しいってことにしときます。
今日は来てくれて嬉しかったですよ。やはりマネージャーさんがいないとパッとしませんからね。
まだ私マネージャーなんですか？1年も丸々サボってんだから、こんな無能マネージャーいい加減に解雇するべきだと思いますよ。
ええ、シオンさんが辞めたいって自分で言えたらいつでも解雇してあげますよ。
ずるいな。早く解放してくださいよね。試合があるたびに来ないかと電話がかかってくるの、もううざくてかなわないんですから。
シオンちゃんももっともっと素直になれば、とってもキュートで可愛い女の子なのに。お父さんは悲しいですよ。一体どこでねじ曲がってこんなにひねくれてしまったんだか。ああ、お父さんの愛の抱擁で力強く包み込めば目が覚めますか？でしたら遠慮なく。ほーら。
Coach was fooling around with all his might, but Shion just smiled into the distance without responding.
何も変わってない。監督が変な人で、みんなのにぎわいも何も変わってないのに。
サトシ君だけいないとおっしゃりたいのですか？帰ってきますよ、きっと。待っている人がいるんですから。
勝手なこと言っててください。
彼も罪作りな人ですよね。こんな可愛い彼女を置き去りにして、どこへ行ってしまったんだか。
彼女？もう、いつまで笑ってるんですか？監督
Coach bent over and laughed heartily for a little while.
では、またお会いしましょうね。試合にもたまには応援に来てくださいよ。
まあ、気が向いたら。私、マネージャーなんか全然もうやる気ないんですから。
いいんですよ。あなたが嫌ならいつでもクビにしてあげますよ。嫌がるのを無理やりってのは私の性分ではありませんからね。
はあ、はいはい。すみませんね、すみませんね。私の負けです。気が向いたらまた応援に来ますので、今日は堪忍してください。
おっと、機材返す約束の時間が。
Sorry, normally whenever there's like an exclamation or something like that, like the game will not automatically show you the next line, or at least it hadn't until now, or maybe I've just been missing it. But that's why I keep accidentally like kind of skipping ahead.
先方、もうだいぶ待たせてますね。では今日はこの辺で。また次の試合でお会いしましょう。
ええ、気が向いたらね。さよなら、監督。
Interesting. So, I did forget to mention this, but like when Shion was introduced, like I was kind of like dumbfounded, right? I was awestruck because it's kind of weird seeing Shion be here because we haven't met her. So, the festival's coming up in about 2 days or so, I think. And we haven't had like an introduction to Shion yet. We didn't meet her at Angel Mort, as far as I know, but Keiichi was pretty familiar with her. Like, he already knew her. So, I don't know. So I'm wondering, like, where exactly this takes place. That's the main thing that's been getting to me throughout the entire playthrough. Like, chapter 1, we had, you know, the timeline, right? Just, we're introduced to everyone, the world is set, the Watanagashi happens, and then everything that happens afterwards, after chapter 1 happens. Then we have chapter 2, where we have essentially a completely different timeline of events before the Watanagashi. And now we're in chapter 3, where we're having another completely different line of events happening before the Watanagashi. And that's, again, like, what's been throwing me off. So again, when the fuck did we meet Shion in this timeline? If there is separate timelines, or if this is all just, like, again, because it's either multiple timelines, or the Watanagashi is different each time, but, like, all of these events are happening at the same time, and they all kind of just converge at the Watanagashi, and then they diverge again. But let's check out the autopsy. One second. The autopsy suggests that the victim was killed in the following manner. The entire body bound in restraints, traces left behind from when the body seemed to have been bound indicated usage of a specific restraining table rather than rope or another common method. Finger joints on either hand appear to have been bound especially tightly. Highly likely that the table was either specially made or homemade given this information. Both ears and nose severed with a sharp blade. Traces of the restraint and other things seem to suggest that there was at least the one more, other than the one who served the body parts holding down the victim's head. Or, who severed, not served. Possible that multiple blades were used, with one of them most likely being scissors or shears. 5 nails penetrated fingers on each hand. One long nail stuck in each joint of each finger on each hand for a total of 30. The deceased's fingers were nailed to wooden planks 20 square centimeters large. Extremely likely these planks were part of the restraining table. In addition, it is likely that the table was originally designed for just such a purpose. Abdomen incised, intestines removed. The incision in the abdomen is likely to have been a technique grounded in medical mythology using a sharp blade. Estimated that there was still no threat to the victim's life at this stage. After this, the organs inside the incision were dismantled and removed. The victim likely died as a result of this process. 5. Body disposed. After fastening a dumbbell to the victim's neck using a commercial pet collar. Really? The victim was likely abandoned in the Oji River's third drain. Judging by the dumbbell's weight, it's highly possible that they would have needed at least 3 grown men to have disposed of the body. To Oi-san. Here's a copy of the preliminary autopsy of the slaughtered corpse in the Oji River. Chief Shigeharu sees this as having a possible relation to the S group. What are your thoughts, Oi-san? S group. Like Sonozaki. I believe this is referring to the start of the game, the intro, where we had like just a corpse pop out of nowhere. Oh, that's true. We did go to Angel Mort with the baseball dude, so maybe Shion was there. Yeah, that could have been it. She might have been working at the time we went there. Yeah, that makes sense. Because as far as we know, at least so far in this chapter, we have not visited Angel Mort except for that one time. You're correct. Again, it's been a week at least on my end since we played through that, so I completely fucking forgot. But either way, East Round 3. So this is probably Oi-san at the Yep, there he is. Oh no.
純ドラさん、満願です。
Oh no.
Mahjong. なんすかそれ。なんでドラが3つも入んすか。
バカモンが。大石がテンパイしたの分かっててカンドラ増やしよってからに。
He was in Tenpai and you threw another Dora?
自業自得じゃぞ。
チュンさらしたらドラを上乗せするぐらいしかやることないじゃないですか。厄介さらしたらドラそばは切っちゃダメですよ。
I still need to learn how to play Mahjong. I have a general idea of how to play it, but I'm still not good at it because I don't know the hands yet, like 100%. But it's also been a while since I played it. Oishi grinned meaningfully as his buddies swearing began breaking down the walls and reforming them.
時に大石さんどうですか。割れましたか。なんじゃい。ああ、例のドブ川惨殺死体の話かの。何か手がかりはあったのか。
ねえ、まあ。裏はそっちで取ってくださいよ。
さすが。何者です、仏。
間宮里奈、本名は律子。
Ritsuko? Huh? Wait. Irina Mamiya Ritsuko.
岸骨フラワーロードにあるブルーマーメイドってキャバクラに勤めてたみたいっす。
Why does that name sound familiar? Unless... No, I don't think we've met Ritsuko yet. I don't believe we have. Imagine this is like... I don't know, like Irena or Erika's like mom or something. Because one of them disappeared, right? It was like... both their moms and dads are gone. But both of their fathers were confirmed dead. Their mothers, I believe, were confirmed missing. What if they pulled like a Satoshi and also ran away and like started a new life with like a different name? And then she was just found and killed by, you know, the S organization.
やれやれ。そらやばい店じゃな。確か、園崎家の若頭の店じゃろ。園崎あった。S 号関連か。
Yeah, so here's your hint. If you didn't know, oh, hey, the S group, by the way, is the Sonozaki. Which, by the way, is Mion's, like, family.
難航しそうな山だな。
But, I mean, if you're in Chapter 3, you already know this.
噂じゃあ仏さん、園崎の上納金に手をつけちゃったらしいっす。話じゃかなりシャレにならない規模らしいっす。
女が上納金に手を出した。裏に男がいそうじゃのう。女の単独犯なんてそうそうないぞい。
どうせもう死んでますよ。死体がまだ出ないだけで。
そうそう、おいさん。女の同居人、生きてるみたいですよ。
生きてる？じゃあこれから死ぬんでしょうね。害虫が害虫を駆除してくれるんだから。本当に素敵な事情機能だと思いますよ。
That's so mean.
その紐なんですがね。北条哲平なんですよ。
北条。
北条？誰だい？
北条哲平。去年ひなみ沢で起こった主婦撲殺事件の仏のご主人ですよ。
Oh wait, this is Satoko's aunt, I believe. I believe it was her aunt. Because Satoko, let's see, Satoko's parents died. If I'm remembering correctly, her parents died. Then she moved in with her aunt and uncle, and then they went missing. And then her brother ran away from home. I believe that was it. So maybe this is the aunt and uncle. If they somehow ran away.
事件の後姿を消したって聞いてましたけど。そうか。その女のところに転がり込んでたか。
ますますに園崎の匂いがプンプンだの。
彼氏は今どこに？
女のアパートに同居してたんすがね。女が自分を捨てたと思ったみたいで、 店やたまりのあちこちを探し回ってるらしいっす。
Interesting. Well, those are currently like my theories regarding this so far. It's interesting that these Sonozakis are still involved. And who knows what's gonna fucking happen. But I guess we'll find out next time. I guess we'll call it here for tonight.